Hey guys, Stephen Cox here, and today we're going to be learning scales and arpeggios on the bass ukulele. This is part 7 of my bass ukulele mini course. If you like videos like these, please subscribe below for more and consider becoming a patron where you can find the PDF version of this course as well as a bunch of other lessons. So first we're going to be learning a major scale pattern. That's going to sound like this. And then backwards. So in order to play this, we're going to be using our grid from the last exercise. So if you haven't gone through part 6 of this course, please take a break from this lesson and go back and understand what I mean by the grid. So our grid for this exercise, we're going to be doing index finger getting 2nd fret notes, middle finger getting 3rd fret notes, ring finger getting 4th fret notes, and pinky getting 5th fret notes. For this exercise, we're doing the G major scale, and we're going to start on the 3rd fret on the E string. So that's going to be our middle finger playing that note. So with our major scale patterns, because we will be able to move these patterns around, just remember that they're going to start on our middle finger. Major scale, middle finger. So we're going to start by playing the 3rd fret on the E string with our middle finger, the 5th fret with our pinky. Now we're going to go onto the A string, the 2nd fret with our index finger, then the 3rd fret with our middle finger, the 5th fret with our pinky. Now we're going to go onto the D string, 2nd fret with our index finger, 4th fret with our ring finger, and 5th fret with our pinky. So let's play through that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to play it backwards down the scale. So we're going to start on the 5th fret on the D string with our pinky. Then we'll go to the 4th fret with our ring finger on the D string still. Then the 2nd fret on the D string with our index finger. Now we're going to move to the A string 5th fret with our pinky. The A string 3rd fret with our middle finger. The A string 2nd fret with our index finger. The E string 5th fret with our pinky, and the E string 3rd fret with our middle finger. So let's put both those parts together and play up and down the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat the top note, backwards. So now let's learn the minor scale. That's going to sound like this. So for this scale, we're going to be using the 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, and 6th fret. So that means our index finger is going to get all the 3rd fret notes, our middle finger is going to get all the 4th fret notes, our ring finger is going to get all the 5th fret notes, and our pinky is going to get all the 6th fret notes. So we're going to start on the 3rd fret on the E string with our index finger, then the 5th fret on the E string with our ring finger, the 6th fret on the E string with our pinky. We've got the 3rd fret on the A string with our index finger, the 5th fret on the A string with our ring finger, and the 6th fret on the A string with our pinky. Now we're going to do the 3rd fret on the D string with our index finger, and the 5th fret on the D string with our ring finger. So let's play through that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then now we're going to do the reverse, which is going to sound like this. So we're going to start on the 5th fret on the D string. That's our ring finger. Then we're going to play the 3rd fret on the D string with our index finger. Then we're going to play the 6th fret on the A string with our pinky. The 5th fret on the A string with our ring finger. The 3rd fret on the A string with our index finger. The 6th fret on the E string with our pinky. the 5th fret on the E string with our ring finger, and the 3rd fret on the E string with our index finger. So let's play the whole entire scale up and down now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat the top note, back down. All right, once again, I'm just going to reiterate these are movable patterns. So if we changed our grid and our starting point, we would be playing a different minor scale, but we could play a minor scale using that same finger pattern. I'm just going to demonstrate this real quick. We'll talk more about it later on in the lesson. That was D minor. If I move it over here where I'm on the 2nd fret on the A string as my starting pitch, and my grid is 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a B minor scale, but it's still a minor scale. So now let's talk about arpeggios. So arpeggios are kind of like when guitar players and piano players play a chord. We like to play the individual notes of them, and we don't always have to play the whole entire arpeggio in a bass line, but a lot of bass lines do consist of these notes. So if a guitar player is playing a G chord, a G major chord, we might play a G major arpeggio in some genres. This is what a G major arpeggio sounds like. And this is what a G minor arpeggio sounds like. But we can move these shapes around like I just demonstrated with the scales. So we just want to learn the shape for now, and then we'll talk about moving them around after that. So for this one, let's go back to our original grid for today, which was the 2nd fret notes with the index finger, 3rd fret notes with the middle finger, 4th fret notes with the ring finger, and 5th fret notes with the pinky. Let's go ahead and assign those fingers. So we're going to start on the 3rd fret on the E string. Then we're going to play the 2nd fret on the A string. And then we're going to play the 5th fret on the A string. And those are the 3 notes of our major arpeggio. So how did we figure these notes out? Well, these came from the major scale with the same name. So that was a G major arpeggio. And those notes came directly from a G major scale. They were the 1st note of the scale, the 3rd note of the scale. Check it out. 1, 2, 3. So that's the 3rd note. And then the 5th note of the scale, which is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th note of the scale. So I'm not saying frets, I'm saying notes in order of the scale. So 1st note, 2nd note, 3rd note, 4th note, 5th note, 6th note, 7th note, 8th note. We played the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. And that is our major arpeggio. So once again, we'll just go over those fret names again. 3rd fret on the E string, 2nd fret on the A string, and 5th fret on the A string. And use your grid to make sure you're using those right fingers there. But I think at this point you've probably got the idea. Just double check to make sure that you're not using different fingers to play those notes, because we want to develop the muscle memory on all of these so that we can move these patterns around. So now we're going to do a minor arpeggio. We're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to go to the grid that we used for our G minor scale, which means our pointer finger is going to get all 3rd fret notes. Our middle finger is going to get the 4th fret notes. Our ring finger is going to get the 5th fret notes. And our pinky is going to get the 6th fret notes. Okay, so the minor arpeggio also comes from the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th note of the minor scale. So to recap, our minor scale sounded like this. The 1st note of that scale is the 3rd fret on the E string. Then our 3rd note of the scale is the 6th fret on the E string. And then the 5th note of the scale is the 5th fret on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1st, 3rd, 5th. So here's what our minor arpeggio sounds like. 1st, first, third, fifth. So this will be our index finger getting that first note, our pinky will get the next note, and then our ring finger will get that last note. So recapping it with the fret names: 3rd fret on the E string, 6th fret on the E string, and 5th fret on the A string. And that's our minor arpeggio pattern. It's important to use these fingers so that when we move it around, basically we just have to change our grids to play different arpeggios and scales. Alright guys, congratulations on learning a major scale shape, a minor scale shape, a major arpeggio shape, and a minor arpeggio shape. Now we're going to move these patterns around like I alluded to earlier. So let's play a D major scale. So first of all, remember what your fingers did on the G major scale? Well, our finger pattern's not going to change. Middle, pinky, chain strings, index, middle, pinky, chain strings, index, ring, pinky. Okay, so that's going to stay the same, but our starting point is going to change. So for a D major scale, we want to start on a D note, and D is the 5th fret on the A string. So because that's our starting point, and we know with our major scale pattern we start on our middle finger, our new grid is now going to become index finger getting 4th frets, so that our middle finger can get the 5th fret notes, then our ring finger can get the 6th fret notes, and our pinky can get the 7th fret notes. It's a totally different grid. We haven't used this one yet today. So 5th fret on the A string with our middle finger, then 7th fret on the A string with our pinky, then 4th fret on the D string with our index finger, then the 5th fret with our middle finger on the D string, then the 7th fret with our pinky on the D string, then the 4th fret on the G string with our index finger, then the 6th fret on the G string with our ring finger, and the 7th fret on the G string with our pinky. And then we could go backwards: 7th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret on the G string, then 7th fret, 5th fret, and 4th fret on the D string, and then the 7th fret on the A string, and then the 5th fret on the A string. So if you've done the major scale pattern in any place a whole bunch of times, your fingers should kind of do this automatically as long as you remember to change strings at the right point. So really we're just trying to get the muscle memory to carry us through these patterns no matter where we start. So our muscle memory will go middle, pinky, chain strings, index, middle, pinky, chain strings, index, ring, pinky. And because we've assigned our fingers to frets, we should know which finger will get what fret based on just looking at our grid. So that's kind of the goal with this. If you don't have the muscle memory developed yet, that's fine. Just go back to one of these two examples until you can. Then change your starting pitch. Just literally find a new grid somewhere, and it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where, as long as your starting note is on the E or the A strings, this pattern will work. So we could start on the 6th fret of the E string, and that would be a B flat scale, which we don't need to know that it's a B flat scale yet. We just need to know that if we start on that note, which is the 6th fret of the E string with our middle finger, then our pattern will go middle, pinky, chain strings, index, middle, pinky, chain strings, index, ring, pinky. When we change strings, we're just going one string away. We're not skipping over any strings. So now let's do the same thing with the minor scale. So this time we're going to play the A minor scale, which means our pointer finger is going to get 5th fret notes. It's going to start on the 5th fret on the E string. So I'm just going to go over what our fingers do first. So for our grid, our pointer finger will get the 5th fret notes, our middle finger will get the 6th fret notes, our ring finger will get the 7th fret notes, and our pinky will get the 8th fret notes. So our first note is the 5th fret on the E string. That'll be our index finger. Then we'll go to our ring finger on the same string. We're still on the E string. That'll be on the 7th fret because our ring finger is getting 7th fret notes. And then we'll go to the 8th fret, still on the E string with our pinky. Now we'll go down to the next string and we'll do index, ring, and pinky. So that'll end up being the 5th fret, the 7th fret, and the 8th fret on the A string. Then we'll do the 5th fret on the D string and the 7th fret on the D string. So notice our fingers did the same pattern related to the grid that we're playing in. The only thing that really changed is our grid and whether our starting pitch is on the E string or the A string. And that's true with all of these patterns. So then it's just a matter of repeating these until they become muscle memory. And then that way, you're not just learning one major scale, you're really learning all the major scales, just one way to play them, and then all the minor scales. We can do the same thing with arpeggios, and this will be important in a future lesson. If we are playing a major arpeggio, let's try doing the same thing. So since we did the D major scale, we know our major scale, we're just going to do the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th note of that scale. So here is the D major scale. Now we're just going to play the 1st note of it, the 3rd note of it, and the 5th note of it. So that's a D major arpeggio. So that's the 5th fret on the A string, the 4th fret on the D string, and the 7th fret on the D string. And once again, because we're playing with our major scale pattern, that 5th fret note will be played with our middle finger, the 4th fret notes will be played with our index finger, and then the 7th fret notes will be played with our pinky. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of a little bit of a tricky concept, so just try to get used to that. But that's the basic idea. We've got all these different patterns, a major scale, a minor scale, a major arpeggio, and a minor arpeggio, and we're able to move these around. Now the importance of this is, once again, major scales get used a lot in walk-ups, when you hear a bass go like boom, 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 that kind of thing. And arpeggios get used in a lot of different bass lines. And we'll actually be learning a line that uses arpeggios in this manner at the end of the course. Alright guys, that's it. Congratulations on learning major scales, minor scales, and their arpeggios as well. We will be using these in future lessons on the course, so make sure to spend a lot of time on this lesson. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.